Welcome to What the Plasma, the podcast where you'll learn more about the importance of blood and plasma. Fine-tune your knowledge about this highly misunderstood industry and hear interviews with patients, donors, and people on the front lines. Let's get started with your host, Mason St. Felix.
Welcome to What the Plasma. I am your host, Mason St. Felix, founder and CEO of iPlasma. Welcome to another episode of What the Plasma with our guest, Jan Bult. Jan is a plasma industry veteran and patient advocate. After 40 years in the plasma industry serving in various roles, Jan founded JMB Consultancy, where they focus on ways to improve access to therapies for patients. Thank you for joining us on the show today. Appreciate having you on.
Pleasure.
So let's jump right in and just talk a little bit about how are you doing with social distancing or staying at home and managing through all that?
Well, I think it's extremely necessary, and it's very encouraging to see that the impact of social distancing can be seen with the hard data. The thing that we have to be careful with is that we don't take it too soon for a success, and that we stay careful and that we take the appropriate time to do so. Because somebody said it today, it's not about the risk that I am going to be infected, it is the risk that I infect somebody else. So take care of the other people and respect the distance rules.
But I think one thing that made me really smile the other day was seeing update that the plasma community, and by community I'm talking about the companies all across, are coming together to create a non-branded hyperimmune product. And I think that's very inspiring to see. And I'm just curious what your thoughts are on that, and what do you believe is the long-term effect of that type of collaboration?
I'm very pleased with this initiative, but before I answer that question, I think it's very important to realize why this is so important. If you are infected with any pathogen, in this case a virus, then you develop antibodies against that virus, so you're protected the next time. And that's what we want to do now. So what you want to do is you want to find those persons who have been infected with the COVID virus, develop the antibodies, and use that to help other people. You have to think about the patients that we just described. You have to think about healthcare providers, and especially now, since there's no other therapy available. From this whole experience is that people are now more and more aware of the importance of antibodies. You'll hear people talking about the power of antibodies, and especially now since there is no other treatment. So I hope that this will be a good stimulus for a lot of people to think about donating plasma and help other people that are so much in need of the therapies that they need and with antibodies that they cannot produce themselves.
Can you just touch on that just a little bit? What do you mean by why the therapies have to stay within a specific border? Can you just touch on that a little bit more?
Well, you have to deal with a lot of regulations, and the regulations are very focused on borders. In the United States, you have to meet the requirements for FDA, and that's totally understandable. In Europe, you have European regulations, but sometimes I feel that the regulations are not in sync. They're not always harmonized. I'll give you a good example. If you know that these therapies can help these patients that do not have the ability to fight infectious diseases, why is it that you have to develop the same kind of clinical trial in each individual country to prove the same thing?
One of the things that I think about is that donors are the true lifeblood of developing these type of products, right? And there is no patient I've spoken to that hasn't really emphasized the importance of that fact and haven't emphasized the appreciation for donating, for donors and for donating plasma.
Yeah, I think the first thing that people need to understand is donating saves lives, period. And whether you donate blood or you donate plasma, both donors are very important. Blood donations are very important for hospital use, transfusion, cells and components. But that's, I would say, for immediate use and because of a clinical situation. When you talk about plasma, that is being used to manufacture therapies from the proteins that are in the plasma. So we should not differentiate between the two donors. Both types are extremely important.
To listen to the full episode plus more, go to whattheplasma.life or anywhere streaming podcasts. Search for What the Plasma. While you're there, make sure to subscribe. Don't forget to join the iPlasma Life community on your favorite social media platforms.